I didn't
Yes, you
want
may.
to. I didn't
We just
want
had
to
a
see anything I wasn't supposed to.
no. We just had a minor issue with our sound. Okay, welcome, gentlemen, for session 6, I believe, of our App for Yet unnamed campaign. So
We're gonna name it.
I'm gonna have to ask for some forgiveness. So the pace is my bad, but the pacing was a little bit off last time. It took way longer to get through the rest of the dungeon than I thought, and then way shorter to do the level up than I thought it was gonna be. So then I tried to rush the interaction. So we're gonna rewind. We're gonna go back to the night before you ride up to Ubersreich. How's that sound? And you'll just
Sounds
pretend
good.
you don't know anything that we talked about earlier, because things are going to change a little bit, depending
I'm
on.
fine with that. I feel like it was all us taking in story, so I don't think there's gonna be any big change to
Yeah. All
what
right.
we ended up doing.
Sounds good, gents. All right. See, this is new features here. Oh my goodness.
We just say we won't be disregarding the impending siege that we don't know is coming yet.
No idea what you're talking about. All right. Should have. Oh, ignore that one. Amateur hour here. You think we would have it by now? All right.
You've got it better than me, and you've got more things to click. So.
Yeah. So, you guys are riding up. You're about a day's ride away from the city. You're still with Gunther Emming and his 2 knights, and you come upon a grassy knoll that looks a tiniest bit familiar, Brad, but we're just gonna ignore that for now. And you decide that here is a good place to set up camp, and you can get situated and ready for whatever is to come in the coming days. All right, so as a recap, you guys defeated Heinrich Kemmler. He was able to, unfortunately, dimension door his way out after you beat the Jesus out of him, knocked him down the stairs, hit him with some dissonant whispers that hit for all kinds of damage. Harbeck barely made it out of there alive because he kept stumbling and falling into acid pots, and Riley managed to pry the phylactery out of Krell's coffin with a halberd that he had in his back pocket. So from that encounter, you netted 3 things. You netted you netted a sword, which I believe Riley has. I believe it's the Sword of Life Stealing. And you also got the Tome of Fates, which who currently has that right now?
Let me
see. Oh no, it's in my objects.
It's in your objects.
And you got it.
Then I have it.
Yeah.
So
okay. So Thury. Yep. So Thury has the Tome of Fates, and then you also have the Gibbering Staff that has been nonstop nattering and whatnot at you guys this entire time. So you're setting up camp for the night. What would you like to do?
Seems so open-ended.
Gunther is here as well, and
yeah,
you haven't really gone into huge details about what happened yet. So you're sitting around the campfire.
We were unable to. Go ahead.
We told him about Krell, and I think we had told him that we broke the
flask
thing.
Okay. So how would you? So how do you remember how would you say it if you were going to say it in character?
As Riley, do you know what will happen because that flask broke? Will that affect the sick people in Ubersreich?
Only time will tell. We're just gonna have to get there to find out. But if what's written in the text is correct and what your friend, and he points towards Harbeck, said is true, they should be all right, as their souls were released and they weren't, and Krell was not summoned. So the energy of their souls is just must be just floating in the wind. It will take time, but eventually it will find its way back to them. I imagine. We'll probably see when we get there, though. Your guess is honestly as good as mine. This is uncharted territory for me. I will say. No, go ahead.
No, go finish.
I said I will say. When I first sent you, I did not expect the kind of threat that you encountered, and if you had told me that you guys would be fighting Heinrich Himmler and win, I would never have guessed that. So I must say I am impressed. I should be able to, once we get back to the city, I should be able to get a worthy reward for you guys from the church, because that's one less problem that we have to deal with now, thanks to you.
What do you mean, one less problem? What other problems are you dealing with in Uberstrike?
Well, there was before I left, there was you might have met him, the witch hunter, the witch hunter Heinrich, or sorry, the witch hunter Siegfried. He was also striking out on. There was one of the outlying villages was having significant issues, portions of their populace going missing and turning up mauled, and he the missive first came to me, and then I forwarded it to the magistrate Heinrich von Brunner, and he must have pulled some strings, because for a witch hunter to show up is unusual. It must be serious. It must be serious, whatever he thinks he found.
I guess we'll just have to wait and find out.
You talked to him, didn't you?
You know
Didn't you talk to him before you left?
Well, we did, and he said he was heading, was it north? But he didn't necessarily describe why.
Yeah, they are
He
a
was
secret.
hunting
They are
something.
they are a secretive lot. Those witch hunters. Emperor's business is the usual answer that I get.
Sounds about right.
Doesn't it?
We also found this tome, but we've seemingly been unable to open it as of yet. Might be something worth asking the church about as well.
May I see it?
Sure.
And as you hand it over, he looks at it, and then he immediately grows uncomfortable, almost like it's getting hot, and he kind of puts it down. Is it normally that temperature? You didn't seem to be having any trouble holding it earlier.
I hadn't noticed anything.
This is well beyond my capabilities. As he tries to fiddle with the lock, and he's looking at the gears, and he's like, it seems like the more he looks at it, the more befuddled and confused he gets. Like, you know, like seeing a jet engine tied to a camel. It just doesn't make sense to him. at this point in time how it all works. He hands it back to you. He wraps his cloak around his hand, picks it up and hands it to you, much like Gandalf handing off a palantir to to one of the hobbits, almost like he's afraid to touch it. Like, best keep that under your hat for now. It's hard to say what the college would do if they heard wind of it. They would definitely try and take it. It seems like the book has other ideas.
Probably not what we want, is for them to take it away.
Well, it's no doubt a powerful artifact. Well, anyone else, I would say probably best not to have it, but you lot seem to be able to handle yourselves quite well, I must say, surprisingly.
Do you know what type of secrets Kemmler would have been trying to keep in a book like that?
Only way to find out is to get it open.
So far, we've been unlucky with that.
Seems like he must have had a key with him or some other magical means of opening it. I wonder. I don't know. Not sure. Like I said, this is much beyond my scope. And then just then you hear the gibbering staff kind of let out a little shriek, and one of the horses that are next to it are obviously like nervous and kind of like moving around, and even the other two knights are kind of like shifty eyed, just because it's a talking fucking stick. Of course, it'd be a little bit unnerved. And what about that thing?
I feel like it hasn't seemed to been quiet since we picked it up. But there's not much that we've been able to decipher from it either.
It's a language I don't recognize. Well, if I had to guess, I'd say it'd be demonic or abyssal, celestial, something from the Chaos realms. And I know most of the languages around here. It's not Elven, it's not Dwarvish, it's not Common. I don't know what it could be. It is unnerving though, and he looks over his shoulder at it with a kind of a side eye. And he looks at Harbeck, and he says, "How about you, Slayer? Where do you come into all of this? These two make sense, but what's a Slayer doing all the way out here, away from his hills and his mountains?"
Just following my friends.
Do you intend to get your friends killed
safe.
the same way you were destined?
They would get killed just fine without me. They might last a little longer with me around.
To enjoy the confidence.
You're funny for a dwarf. And that axe you have. Can I see it?
Mm-hmm.
He motions toward your silvered axe.
Yeah, you can take a look.
He just he rolls it over, runs it over in his hands. Ah, this must be one of Reiniger's. You can see his mate mark here on the haft. Very nice. I know it wasn't cheap. He hands it back to you. Well, let's just say, perhaps when you get back, maybe he'll let you look at the second floor. Once after I write you a missive, write you a reference letter, and with whatever gold I'm able to scrounge from the church's coffers. You know, it is Middenstag, so winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
Well, he looks into the fire, kind of pensively. He's like, well, I'm gonna retire for the night, lads. You just make sure you kick that out before you go to bed. We'll leave at first light. And he goes to his tent and he zips up, and you can smell incense burning. You can tell he's communing with his gods, doing his daily, nightly rituals, that kind of thing. And it's just the other guards as well. One stays on watch, leaned up against the rock, and the other one goes to the tent over here, and he goes to sleep. So now it's just the three of you out there. The guard by the rock is kind of just playing cards with himself and just trying to keep himself awake. He doesn't really seem to be paying attention to you at all. So it's just the three of you. And Faldron.
Of course. I mean, we can keep trying to play with the book, but it may not be worth our time as of right now. I'm curious about what to do with the staff, though. Do we keep it with us overnight? Do we try and bury it somewhere and find it in the morning? Either or seems to have its risks involved.
Can't hear you, Brad. We can understand that. For fuck's sakes.
How about now?
Better.
Gotcha.
But it's shitty, right?
So it's
Not
okay.
shitty. Oh.
Better than nothing.
My wife.
Lost you again.
Oh. That's real creepy. To see the outline of his face. Nothing? Nothing.
Recognizing nothing.
There we go. There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
We got you now.
All right. It was not recognizing the microphone half of this headset for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
this one's funny.
I don't like. Yeah, sometimes. I don't like that staff laying next to us, but I really don't trust these or know these guards well enough to leave anything we have laying around.
I know, that's the conundrum that I'm trying to figure out.
Do you think Faldron would, if we put the staff and the book in a tent, do you think Faldron could sleep out front and
Got it.
alert us if they did anything?
Just so you know, elves don't sleep. They only meditate. So you can stay
Okay.
in a state of semi-conscious awareness all night if you so choose.
Okay, that seems doable.
And you only need half the time to get a long rest. You can't in this case because you're outdoors. So it's definitely a good idea to have a watch in this case because you are outdoors.
Right.
An additional
Well, you
watch,
can-
you mean?
Yeah, like that guard can't stay up all night. He'll be useless in the morning. Usually they would split the watch 4 hours, 4 hours. But that does make for a long day.
I mean, Faldron can definitely guard it, and then if I have to stay in meditation, then that's okay too.
Yeah, just you're not like when you're meditating, it's similar to sleep. You're very focused. You're very focused and you're very in your own, almost like if you have meditated, like it's like a third body experience. But the threshold to snap you out of it is a lot lower than mortals that sleep.
Right.
So, if you had the staff right next to you and the book, if somebody came and took it, you would know.
Be aware of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Thuri, if you keep watch, you can alert me if there is any sign of threat, mortal or otherwise.
That seems to make sense. It seems like what we have to do. So do we want to just set up then and try and get some rest?
Yes, I'm prepared to rest.
Yeah, if you don't actually get your rest time, then you'll take a point of exhaustion, which has consequences. Reduces your speed, but does a bunch of bad stuff. I've never used it before, so it's never come up yet, believe it or not.
So I have to rest.
4 hours. Yeah, you'd have to do your meditation for 4 hours.
Right.
Before you go to sleep or meditate, Riley just wants to check something, I think. Maybe I didn't put this on the character sheet, which would...
What did you want to check?
I don't remember. If Riley has taken a close look at the staff yet, because one of his languages is celestial. But I don't think I wrote it on the character sheet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
I
he
remember
hasn't
that,
taken-
but I need an explanation for how he. I need a story explanation for how he knows celestial. And until you can give me that story explanation, we're going to count that as a nil.
Oh.
All right.
Because celestial,
something you have
the
to
literal,
learn?
that's the literal language of the gods. That's what the angels that come down from heaven speak. So there's got to be a real good reason for you to know that language. Same with abyssal. Abyssal's the opposite.
Opposite.
Yeah. Well, demons and devils are different in this universe. In D&D universe in general, demons and devils are different. Devils are lawful, demons are chaotic. They speak different languages, And that's the rule set we're going off of. That's... Oh, what did I do? Y'all are still in?
Yep.
Apparently the side buttons on my mouse make me go back. Didn't even stop the music. Great. Don't even need a DM. It's fine. Okay, so safe to say you guys post up for the night. 30 with your staff and your book.
Yes.
Yeah, Riley, until you get me that backstory.
Yeah, just looking through files to see if I had written anything.
Okay. And
I'm
Harbaugh.
not finding it. Whatever.
Okay. Yep.
I'll move on.
Come up with something at some point. And besides, it's celestial and abyssal. It'd be like Greek and Roman, close, but not the same. Okay. Somebody roll me a d20.
Just anyone?
Yep. This is straight d20.
11.
Okay. All right. First watch happens. The guards switch. Second watch happens. Nothing untoward occurs throughout the night. You guys wake up well rested, not exhausted. So onward and upward. So so you post up and you get your horses and pack up camp, have your breakfast in the morning, I'm assuming. Is there anything else you'd like to do before we leave campsite and head towards Ubersreich? You'll be there in about 3 hours. About 4 hours ride, roughly.
I'll ask Gunther, is there anywhere, do you know these woods well? Is there anywhere we can go slightly off path that might provide an opportunity to replenish some of our wares?
Your wares? I assure you, the best
stuff.
The best traders are in Ubersreich.
Well, then we will follow you there.
Yeah. Just a quick reminder, Thuri. If if you pass a survival check, you can look around to find a cabin for the next time if you're low on resources, to find your cult's hunting cabins that are scattered throughout the realms.
Right.
They're hidden in the forests with a hidden language similar to thieves' cant that only a druid would understand, an outlander or a druid would understand, a ranger possibly. Anywho, so so you guys roll up and you guys get right out towards Ubersreich. And I'll get everybody to roll me perception rolls, please, as you're coming across the hill.
Am I supposed to see a map right now? Because I'm still in camp.
Yep, I know. Just
Okay.
fixing something.
One. Lols.
Ooh.
Still a 7, but it's not great.
Riley with the 12.
Roll me one for Quarian as well, if you don't mind, John. Okay, we'll take the 19. Okay, so as you're riding up to the city. Sorry, they changed a few things, so I'm just getting used to it. There we are. I've kind of chosen your load order for you. So I'm assuming
I did
Quarian.
find Riley's backstory, and I have not written the celestial part into it yet, so
Okay.
you are right.
All right. Okay. So we'll start from the bottom and work our way up. So Thury, as you're getting closer to the city, you're just kind of distracted by the noise of industry and the general civilization. It kind of makes you uneasy. So you don't really notice anything different about the current state of things. However, Riley, you notice double the guard posted on the walls, and they seem to be on a higher alert. Harbeck, you notice that the artillery and the guns, and you from half a mile away, you can hear the artillery and the guns shooting. They're doing drills. They're doing ranging drills. You can hear the orders of 300, 400, and then a bang, and that kind of thing. Almost like they're ranging their own artillery for their own for the town's defense. And with a bird's eye view, Quarian sees the hustle and bustle of the city, and notices that there's much fewer people in the market in general. At the moment, there's half of what there were before, and the ones that are there are frantic, walking around. There. Okay. Now, Gunther notices some of this too, and he kind of gives you a look, and he says, "We must hurry." And he spurs his horse, and you gallop off closer to the city. So now you get close to the city. Now you're pretty much right here, and the Gunther rides up, flashes his sigil of Sigmar at the guards, and they nod to him to pass, and they kind of nod you all through. They actually have the gate barred this time, and they have to open the gate, let you through, then close the gate after you're in. I'm assuming you go in.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right. And so as you get through the gates, Gunther looks around and says, "There's something going on. The guard is not normally this alert." Then the boom, boom, boom. You hear the cannons again, and he seems very, very confused. Said, "Well, that will have to wait for now. Let us go check on our people. See what remains of them, shall we?"
Aye.
Okay.
Alright.
All right. So you walk in, and you notice there doesn't seem, it seems like about the same number of people are still here. And Gunther walks up to the head nurse, and he asks her, "How fare the patients?" She kind of looks at him and like shrugs, like, "Well, I don't really know what's going on." Give me another perception roll, please. All right.
Getting all the bad rolls out of the way.
Yeah.
One of us is.
Yeah, John, sorry, 30 is
Oh,
somewhat distracted again by
Notice this.
the ornate architecture is kind of drawing his eye, and he's kind of like fixated on this pillar and this bench over here. He's just kind of like staring at it and just like reaches out and like touches it, and he just doesn't see. He's kind of just like in Never Land at the moment. Harbeck, on the other hand, he does notice that where half of the refugees were like laid right out, now half of them roughly are sitting up, and some are even talking, and they seem a little bit better shape. And Riley actually notices the one that you guys talked to that seemed in the best condition. I can't remember what his name was, but and I don't imagine you would either. If you have your notes, just shout it out. I think it was that one there, and he's fully standing now versus he was slumped up against the wall. Now he's fully standing, and he's talking to this barmaid over here, and he seems to be holding more of a conversation, and he looks a little bit less ashen. He doesn't look 100%, but he looks like he's doing okay. What would you like to do?
I guess we should ask him when did he feel this change and what's going on.
You're still looking
If he
at that
seems to
pillar.
be-
You're still looking at that pillar. You got no idea.
Then
I'm not doing nothing.
my boy, when did you begin to feel better?
Oh, it was 3 nights ago, I think, maybe 4. It was like all of a sudden a weight was lifted from my chest. I'm not in fighting shape, as I'm sure you've heard, but I think whatever you did seemed to work. I'm assuming this is Harbeck.
This was Riley.
That was Riley. Okay, sorry. Want to move him over for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was this guy over here. Doo-doo. Sorry.
Oh, in the middle.
And
there's the nurse. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, "Well, whatever you did, thank you. Not sure what. It was looking pretty dire there for a minute or two. What? I'm hoping the Archcleric is rewarding you for helping us, but if not, we could probably scrape together a few of our things Get you something if you like.
Well, are any of you are any of the sick rich men or women?
No, we're just travelers. We're just a caravan from Talia. We're decent enough fighters, good with sword and pistol, and crossbow. But for riches,
Well.
we can't kind of came here with a shirt on our backs. With the troubles with the Saratosa pirates, Talia was not hospitable to us anymore. I guess we're more refugees than traders. We don't have much.
Well,
but
focus on getting better then. By the looks of things outside, we may need fighters more than riches soon.
Alas, I don't think I can help you with either. If the fight is soon, if maybe a few more days, we'll be back to fighting strength. But I know Igor over there, and he points towards the stouter-looking man he's still lying down. He was one of our best, and he's not even standing yet. I just feel very tired still very weak, but getting better. At least that's what matters.
One step at a. Oh, I'm still staring at a post.
You can stop staring at the post.
Harbaugh, hurry!
Oh, there you go.
Come.
Now I will come and I will join the conversation.
So just more or less rehash of what he said to you guys, to Riley. He expresses his thanks. He says, well, we may not be able to lend our strength, or we don't have much for coin, but once one or the other return, we will return this kindness upon you. Whenever you need us, we'll be there.
Well, you did say the Archcleric may be able to provide some reward.
I shouldn't have spoken for him, but he may not. The church is less charitable than it's been in recent years. I know he does his best. I know Gunther does his best. He's been very hospitable to us here, but the way the older fellas tell it sounds like things are less welcoming in Sigmar's halls than it used to be. Almost like the church itself has fallen on hard times. Believe it.
You wouldn't happen to have heard anything about what's going on outside?
Oh, you haven't heard?
During your time here?
Well, and he leans forward and whispers, Rumor has it, a horde of goblins is tearing through the Rhineland. That's all that we know so far. Very well could be. Like I said,
how many?
Oof, that's way above my pay grade on the floor of this temple. You might have to go to the higher towers to find that out for yourselves. And just then Gunther walks up and sees Tillian. He sees you talking to Tillian. And says, you look much better, son. How fare ye? And he kind of like gives him like, yeah, so kind of one of those. He says, good. And he motions towards you. If you're satisfied, you want to come step up to my office for a minute?
All right. Don't worry, gents. I think this is going to be good news.
Yeah. So
we're all going up?
Yep. So follow him up the stairs there, and then we'll just pretend through these doors here there's an office on the other side. I don't have a map for it at the moment. Got to do a little bit of theater mind. So he walks up the stairs and he pushes open the double doors, comes through, and he goes around the corner, and he comes out with a chest about yay yay big, and it's heavy. And he puts it down on the on his desk. It's like a large mahogany kind of desk. You see there's scattered papers. It's not very organized, but it's got pen, quill, candles, incense. The typical cleric stuff. And he opens up the chest, and he pulls out 3 bags of coins. And he says, "There, for your troubles, lads. 300 gold pieces each. I know it's
Nice.
not as much as I'd like to give you, but there are still poor to feed, and soon there'll be supplies to buy and potions and wounded to care for, so I cannot empty my coffers at just for your expense as much as I would like to. I want to express my gratitude. You solved a large problem. If Krell came back, we would have some very serious issues. So, thank you."
Well, we will accept your reward and call it an investment. You've seen how we fight.
Actually, I haven't. I have not seen any of how you fight. I've
you've
seen the
you have
aftermath.
heard-
I've seen the aftermath.
How we- the end result.
Yes, and the aftermath does
Yeah.
speak for itself. Which reminds me,
Cannot fight
and
in the
you can see
blind.
a light bulb goes on, and he gets his scribe. He says, "Give me a raven to Middenheim. I need some of their clerics to go purify a tomb." And he quickly scratches out a letter, rolls it up, gives it to the scribe, and the scribe runs off to the raven's nest. Said. So now, then Gunther says, "Well, what do you think? Should we, why don't you fellas run along, and meet me at the Tower of Magnus, noon. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go there and see what all this fuss is about. I haven't heard them ranging cannons for a very long time. This can't be good. Why don't you meet me there, and I'll introduce you to the magistrate and maybe Captain Belcher if he's there. Or sorry, Bletcher.
We'll see you
Captain
there.
Bletcher.
Sure.
And
We'll see you there soon.
okay, all right. So we're back to Uberstrike. What would you like to do?
How much? How much gold did we each get?
300 each.
Was it 300
Another-
each?
We
another
have to
300.
add that to our sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's right down the center column
Mhm.
above your. Okay.
565. Got a lot of coin, man. 30's loaded. There are doggos.
The sounds of the city now. All right. So what would you like to do?
Well, we should probably go find those people.
I don't like meeting new friends with a pocket full of coins. Maybe we can
Yeah. Do you want to
do
go?
some shopping for.
Yeah.
So
go-
untrusting.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, we could go look at that guy with who's sold us
Go
some
up to
shit
there,
last
right?
time.
Reinagers Outfitters.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, just afterwards, a scribe comes running out and he hands you Harbeck. He hands you a small note. Gunther says if you show this to Reiniger, he might show you some of his second story stock.
Wow, the exclusive collection. Off we go. Walking along all speedy toward the outfitters.
Come on.
Riley tilted to the left somehow. People definitely were not named Riley in this universe, but that's the way I've pronounced it.
Here we are.
All right. So you want to go to Rangers? Okay. Sounds good.
Yes.
All right.
Huh?
So the same. Sorry, I gotta unlock the door for you. There. There you go.
Those buzz-in deals. Okay.
So you see Ranger is there, working, tinkering away in the back, and he hears the ding ding ding, the bell ring, and he comes. Back from your adventuring, lads. How's you make out?
We're still standing, aren't we?
What tales of adventure have you?
Let's just say the blade of this axe isn't as clean as when we left.
He kind of looks over and looks at it. He takes like a double take when he sees like the little bit of the shadow black ichor that's like on the haft and on the back, and he kind of raises an eyebrow at you and looks around. And says, certainly not. Well, what can I do for you fellas today?
What can I do for you?
I think we've done good by Ubersreich and good by Gunther at the Temple of Sigmar, and he provided me with this note. Perhaps you have more wares than what we see here.
And then he looks it over. He takes a letter opener. He sees the wax seal. He carefully, and he unrolls it. It would appear so. Rolls it up, puts it in his front pocket, and he says, all right, well, in that case, come on to the back. And he comes over and he unlocks the door, and he kind of gives the guard the nod, and the guard goes and comes over and he locks the front door. So now yous are locked in with the good stuff. So you can come into the back.
Just a second.
So
That's just a back door.
Anything in particular that you fellows were looking at? You come into. So now so he leads you upstairs. So sorry that the map isn't perfect for this. But he leads you upstairs, and then opens another door, and then on your right you see basically glass cases, and it's mostly on that side it's mostly like higher end clothes, like obviously like noble person stuff, and he leads you through that, past that, and then on the left there's another door, and he opens up into a smaller back room that's his select stock. And there's about, I would say probably 10, maybe 15 pieces of gear in here. He says, well, here, and he pulls out, and it's a small metal rod about this long with a horse's head on it. This, lads, this is an immovable rod. See? The door swings inwards, and he's like, come inside. Close the door behind you. And then whoever's last closes the door, I'm assuming. Yes? Affirmative?
Sure.
Yes? Okay. He goes and holds the rod out, and then he pushes a button, and then it just telescopes from either side out. Poof! And he points at Harbeck. You stout lad, try and open that door.
I'll go try it.
Roll me a strength check. Yeah, you pull on the door, but your hand is still sweaty and greasy, and you actually fall right back. And Reininger doubles over laughing. See, what did I tell you? Immovable. And he comes in, gives it a click, and it shoots off. This will be. For you lads, I'd do it for 400 gold pieces. For this, and look at this, and he holds it up in the air, and he goes, and then he does like a chin up on it when it's hanging in midair. Well, isn't that interesting? And it's like he's surprisingly athletic for a man of his size and his age. Like Harbeck would consider him a long beard, which is like old hat, and he's still old man seems to have it still. What do you think? Does that interest you?
It is an interesting tool. What do you call such a tool?
It's called an immovable rod.
An immovable rod.
You know, I said I had a lot of
Interesting.
coin, but 400 coin seems like a lot of coin.
Well, if that
So I
doesn't
guess
interest you as much, sure, go ahead.
I guess the point of this thing is to allow us to secure ourselves in places to, like, give us the ability to have long rests, potentially in better places, like rooms that don't necessarily lock on their own, or
Yes, that's
things of
definitely
that nature.
is definitely one applicable use of this item for sure. There's nary nary a person in all the realms that can move this. So if you post it up on your door at night, they would have to break the door down around it and then go over or under it to get through. And that would wake even Sigmar himself out of his deep slumber. Well, let me just put this on the side for now, and I'll show you what else we have here. And he pulls. There's a shield. There's a shield here. It's of dwarven design. It's got like it's like your standard round circular shield with a band around it, and then like a silver stud in the middle, and then it's got kind of this like lattice structure around it in like kind of like a chevron shape, and then it's got like a crest at the top. The arrow catching shield provides an AC boost as any shield would, while also granting a +2 AC bonus when the wearer is targeted by ranged attacks, such as arrows from an archer. If a teammate is standing within 5 feet of the wearer, the shield can block a ranged attack on that teammate's behalf, making it more useful. So I will copy that into the chat. This one here, and he pulls it out, and he says, "Look, see these?" And he points towards like the lattice structure. These will slow down and catch arrows as they're coming in, and watch this. And he there is another guard that you didn't notice before, and he like motions like throw something at me, and the guard just like, okay. Poof, throws a dagger at him, and the shield doesn't throw it at him, it throws it at you, Thury, because you're standing right beside him, and the shield almost like magnetizes and like blocks it for you in a way, and like kind of like streaks out and blocks it for you, and you're kind of just like, whoa, that's neat.
Unimpressed that he used me as target practice, so.
Oh, we got. If it didn't work, we have potions in the back. I am a salesman. Theatrics are my bread and butter. And besides, there's nothing beats a practical demonstration. So he's like, if you like, we'll put that one off to the side too. And I believe somebody that's wielding a rapier could also wield a shield, as far as I'm aware, because they're not a light weapon, so they're similar to a longsword, but they are a finesse weapon. So you could have a rapier and a shield. And then next, behind him, there's like a potion case, and he pulls out one of these. This is called Bottled Breath. This will help you. This is invented by invented by goblins, believe it or not, and stolen by my brethren the dwarves. Because as you well know, he points towards Harbeck, in a mining explosion, all the air is sucked out because of the explosion, and half of the miners die from the explosion, and the other half die from suffocation. So these were passed around in aid stations in the deep mines of the of the Grimoire Mountains and the Grey Mountains, and this is what would save the miners' lives. So. Yep.
Gust of wind spell. Clear
Bottle
out.
breath content. They can hold their breath safely for an entire hour. Great for swimming deep underwater, or for user can exhale the contents right away and freely cast Gust of Wind spell, which can help clear debris. So if there's poison gases, they could blow them away from a group as well. So we have that. That will be 150 gold pieces.
And how much for the shield?
250.
Well, defense is valuable for sure. Do you have anything that would put us on the attack? I've got these simple hand axes. Do you have anything better?
Oh, let me see. And he's kind of like thinking and humming, looking through some stuff here. Well, he kind of goes back to the potion case, and he pulls out a bottle. This, although it won't necessarily help you with attack, could help you get out of a sticky situation. And he uncorks it, and immediately the room starts to fill with thick black smoke, so you can hardly see. And he corks it, snaps his fingers, and then the window opens, and then a gust of wind blows it out the window. And you can see he has some magical abilities with him as well. He can cast some spells. And for this one, I would take 100 gold pieces. If stealth is something that you're into. And as for offense, he looks at your hand axe, and he kind of like a little bit of disgust, and he puts it down. He's like, well, that silver axe, on the other hand, if you give me some time, I can get my arcanist to enhance it slightly. Or between my arcanist and me, perhaps we could improve that weapon so you hit a little bit harder with it, and perhaps a little bit more damage.
How
Well,
long would it take you to prepare that?
Ugh. Oh, my Arcanist is likely busy. You'd have to leave it with me, is the thing. And by all sounds of it, sounds like you're going to be needing it. Let me see if I can find you one better. Ooh. He looks at Thury. Now, you've been a little quiet, but I didn't notice that weight you keep in your right pocket there, lad. I might have something for you. And he goes over to a wardrobe, opens up a wardrobe. And there's a few different cloaks there. You see one is like a very flashy looking kind of tunic and cloak. And the other one is called Nature's Mantle. It allows the user to hide as a bonus action, even when being directly observed. You still have to roll a stealth check. This action is only available to it's only available to rangers and druids. It opens a wide up blah 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 blah. Yeah. Yeah. And it also functions as a spell casting focus. So even if you lose your bow/staff, you can still cast your spells.
okay, cool.
That would be
See, now that's
that
starting
would
to get
be
interesting.
and it goes over your armor, so you can wear armor and the cloak as well. It helps you to hide, it helps you, that would be 250 gold pieces.
Well, now you have my attention. That
Mm.
seems like something I can get behind.
I wonder if anything here would be of interest to Riley, who may not have made it in past that stranger out front that looks like my old travel buddy Murpher.
For the fancy lad. This may be something like this may interest you. It basically allows you to cast Prestidigitation as a cantrip, more or less, but only on the cloak itself. So make yourself shiny, do something along those lines. It can also improve a persuasion or performance check once a day, so it gives you advantage on a persuasion or performance check once per day. I'm just gonna add that. There. Okay. So for that one, I'd say 150 gold pieces.
Well, says Riley.
Ooh. And he just wait. Ooh. I got one more thing. He's eyeing up the bows on both Riley and Thury. Ooh. I might regret this. These lads, and he pulls out these leather bracers. These allow you, but he straps them on, ties them really quickly, pulls a bow out, and he has like there's a little like to the right you have the closets and stuff, and then here's like the weapon cases, and then to the left there's like training dummies and stuff. And he goes over, grabs a random bow, and he pulls off. See this, lads? You can just pull it a little bit farther, and he pulls a bow like way farther than you should be able to, and he lets it go, and you can see where normally it would hit your elbow just from the angle. It seems to like be magically guided and bounce off and actually accelerate, and then the arrow goes like through the dummy. It adds a +2 to damage. Okay, I'll be slightly quieter. +2 to damage rolls. Which, for those of you with a sharpshooter feat, which would be a +12. Again, I might regret this a lot, but it's fine.
And
this is one of my best items. I'm gonna say 500 gold pieces for this.
Would this bracer make my arrow travel further?
No.
Or just hit harder?
No, just hit harder.
It certainly could be useful.
Is there anything else?
Something else to think about.
Anything else you lads might be interested? That's most of what I got.
I mean, I think I'm pretty stuck between the cloak and the bracers, depending on what my teammates are interested in. I'm open to discussion.
The gust of wind. What could aid that in clearing obstacles? Would a strong man like myself, Harbeck, have an advantage when using that?
Like the
I already have very powerful lungs.
I suppose
Stuff.
So what gust of wind would help you clear poisons or airborne effects, spores, that kind of thing. That's what it would help you clear. Straw, anything that's like light and feathery, small pebbles perhaps, anything that like 120 kilometer gust of wind. That like imagine like say it's like 100 kilometer an hour gust of wind, just all of a sudden. That's more or less what it would be. Maybe not even 100. Probably like a 50 or 70 kilometer an hour wind. Not even 100. It wouldn't blow a person over, and it wouldn't blast rubble. For that, you'd be looking at like a thunder wave kind of situation.
Well, going back to Riley, I'm very interested in this brace to help me with my arrow. Yes.
Right.
But not at that price. Are you interested in helping your community? You know we've done much for Uber Strike already.
Just because, well, yeah, Gunther doesn't vouch for just anyone, but he's not exactly. You're not quite there yet. Not yet. Tell you what. If combined, you and your teammates spend 1,000 gold, if you have it, I'll knock 150 off the bracers.
On top of the 1,000?
Altogether.
So we could leave spending 850 and get $1,000 worth, 1,000 gold worth. Or do we need to spend 1,150 to
Yes. Yeah, you're right the first time.
Okay.
You have 1,000. If you spend 1,000, he'll knock it down to 850 total. If you
We'll
get the
call it a
crystals.
rebate then.
Sure. Yep. Mail in.
An instant rebate.
Okay, I'll let you mull on that for a quick minute. I'm gonna mix another drink.
I mean, how much-
Harbeck's quite interested in the door blocking staff thing,
The movable rod.
which is the immovable rod. Quite an expensive item.
It is
Between
more
that
on the expensive side.
between that and the bracers, if you buy anything at all, we're guaranteed to hit the.
Well, I was gonna get the cloak if Riley was gonna get the bracers.
Yeah, you got a plus
It's-
10 to
I mean-
damage. You really don't need that plus 2. It's not gonna make that much of a difference.
Right. So, I think the cloak is a good item for me. The potion that does the fog effect. Don't necessarily see a ton of value in that right now, just because we've gotten by with Pass Without Trace. Although I guess this is more for a flee once we're already in trouble. But
Oh, the ever smoking bottle.
yeah,
Yeah, you haven't cut
Um,
yourselves in over your head yet.
so I think between the bracers, the cloak, and
The immovable rod.
the immovable rod, if you feel that is helpful, then yeah, I think that makes sense. How much gold do we have between the three characters? Three of us.
Riley and Harbeck can each afford their own. Riley has 750. Harbeck has 500.
Okay. So yeah, then I think we're good because I have 565,
Not
so I
not
can pick that.
not interested in the shield at all, there, Riley.
No, not particularly.
All right.
We're never close enough for it to really make a difference. Like unless we end up in some like really tight.
It's the
Quarters.
arrow catching that
Right.
give me a history check.
Just Riley?
Anyone. Oh, I forgot Murphy's on the outside. That's what you're trying to say. Is Murphy's over?
Yeah.
Yeah, Murphy's he's just shopping. He's just in there shopping. Oof. Thury, you can as well. Jesus. Well,
We're bad
Ye-
historians.
you apparently not. With a 9, you know that goblins like bows. That's it. That's all I can give you.
So goblins like bows, eh?
Like Harbeck should have known that, but if he didn't roll, rolled literally anything else. Pretty sure he's fought goblins before, but he's just having a temporary. He's just having flashbacks at the moment. He's kind of stun locked. Not quite sure what's going on. So, immovable rod, bracers, and the cloak. Those 3 things for sure.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you can go to the compendium. I'm gonna trust you just to minus a gold from yourselves. A little self accountability here, and then go to the compendium. You should be able to click and drag whatever it is into your inventory. And it should, if there's any bonuses, you might have to manually add them, but they should auto port. If they don't, we'll take a look at it.
Where's the compendium?
It is the
it's the
top
eye.
right, the
Got
eye.
it.
Yeah.
Gotta do math. 315. It was called the Nature's Mantle.
Yep.
I've lost the price of the. Oh, it was 400.
So now I have studded leather armor and the Nature's Mantle.
Yeah, because it's just a cloak that goes over. That fits your aesthetic, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that allows you to hide as a bonus action, which is super nice. So but your bonus actions are pretty clogged up as is, but it could come in handy for you. You don't get sneak attacks, but it could. Like I said, when you're hidden, you're effectively invisible. Any
Right.
attack against you has disadvantage, and any attack you make has advantage. So, in case your birdie gets knocked out of the air.
So my bonus actions are normally Faldron related, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Alright.
My
So we
bad
good?
at clicking and dragging. What the hell's going on here?
What's that, sorry?
My clicking. We were supposed to be able to click and drag.
From the compendium, yeah.
From
You
the
should be able to just
compendium?
onto your character sheet. Onto your character sheet.
Yeah.
With you have multiple character sheets, it might give you trouble. What are you trying to do?
You know what? It might be. It might be because I popped the character sheets out in the separate windows. Let me
Yeah,
just
yeah. It's got to be
try that
in
so
the
it's
window's got to be
gonna
in
interact
Roll20.
better
If you
with
pop it out, then it doesn't know it exists. So. All right then, I'll let you guys do that, and then it's afternoon, so I'm assuming you're going to Uberstrike or going to the
back
Tower of
out.
Magnus.
Yeah.
All right. No other stops. Don't want to pick up any more potions, any herbal ingredients, anything like that.
I don't think so.
No.
All right. Yeah, and if you if you want things for Faldron, there'll be nothing that's already made, so you'll have to ask. Like. All right. So as you approach the gate, or you as bidden, you go to the Tower of Magnus, which you see at the very top of it has a giant cannon that it has this really weird shape. It almost looks like a horn in a way. Like it's kind of like the spout of it comes up. Like you got the barrel and then it kind of comes up. And it's massive, and you see two much more well-armed guards at the door. And they see you approach. And who's going in first?
Riley will approach. I assume approach the guards. They may have a question.
Halt, citizen. State your business.
We were summoned here by Gunther.
Gunther Emming?
Sure.
All right. Well, he said to expect you. He kind of looks over the party and but he points towards Faldron. I said, no wild animals in the in the tower. You'll have to stay out here.
What about an animal that has fought for the safety of the sick people in the Temple of Sigmar? Surely you can make an exception.
No, I can't. They'll chop my head off. So.
Orders from above.
Orders are
I can
orders.
shut
know
it
what-
off right now.
He looks at Harbeck and like game notices game and he says and he looks at Harbeck and says, "You understand." Because it's widely known that because you actually have a brand on your chest. That's part of your Slayer's oath. So he knows that you used to be a soldier. And he kind of looks at you sideways and says, "Orders are orders, aye, Slayer." And he like stares at you kind of in a like a glowering, like a condescending way almost.
Okay, but if you lose your hand out here, that's on you.
Fair enough. We have kennels out back too. If you'd rather.
Oh, only if you dare.
All right. Well, proceed. And he lets you all in. Give me an animal handling check, please, Thury.
I should eventually learn that they're all in alphabetical order.
14. So that's a success. What would that look like between you and Faldron?
I mean, I would like to think about it's at the point where Thury just has to look at him, give him a nod, and then Faldron would sit, and Quirion would land on his shoulder, and they would both just sit there and wait.
Sounds good to me. All right. Onward and upward.
Nice.
All right. So you walk in the tower. Where are you? Three of you. So you walk in to the main level of the tower, and you see 5 tables roughly, and to the right you see what's obviously some mercenaries and town guardsmen, which are kind of sitting around like they have a drink or two, but they're like, you can tell they're not in a super great mood. They're taking a drink to take the edge off, not to celebrate. And then you have some of the palace and the tower guard to your left, and then a couple of city guard farther to your left. And then just a couple noble women that must be here. Their husbands must be here on business, and they're just kind of sitting chatting. And then there's a bartender and a couple kegs of ale. And you don't see a kitchen anywhere or any food, but it just seems to be drinks and maybe like a sandwich, odd kind of thing served here. Nothing hot. And then you see a staircase coming up. And then it spirals off to either side. And kind of goes farther that you can see. And then down the stairs comes this barkeep, and she kind of looks at the three of you and kind of sizes you up and makes an educated guess and comes up and says to you, Riley, "You must be Gunther's guests. Here, come with me there, lads." And she turns around and kind of leads the way. "They're waiting for yous." And she goes up the right hand stairs. And then as you come up, you see 3 figures. Roll me perception, please. Everybody. 3 larger-than-life figures. Gunther, which you know. And then to the left, you see Erwin Blucher, which was the captain that met you at the gates when you first came into town. He kind of looks at you and he gives a little nod. And then at the far end of this table, this round table with maps and tokens and various pieces. This must be you're assuming. Let's see. What have we got for perception checks? 16. 16.
16's all around.
16's all around. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, natural 20. Harbeck, you. Okay, so first off, Riley, you pick up on. There's a little bit of tension between Irwin and Gunther, the tiniest area of tension, and you pick up that the figure on the far left in green robes, elderly gentleman, with a with a little skull emblem right here. The skull is the sigil of the Empire. Skull with an iron cross behind it, basically, right on his neck. And you notice that you're assuming that this is the magistrate of the city. This is a very important person. Harbeck, you notice not only the tension between Irwin and Gunther, but you also see a side glance that that this magistrate figure does towards Irwin as well. Kind of like almost like he's beneath him, almost like he's, not worthy of being at the table, but he's just here because somebody else isn't. Because the current chain of command is otherwise occupied. So Gunther, he waves you over, and then the last turns around and heads down once she's sure you guys are all sorted. So Gunther says, "These are the lads that kept Krell and and Heinrich Kimmler from becoming another harrowing problem, thorn in our backsides. This is Magistrate Heinrich von Brunner." And the magistrate nods at you. Wish I could say the same. he says to you. "We would not ask you here unless the situation was dire." And he pulls out a map. I'll cut straight to it. I'll cut straight to it, lads. It doesn't look good. So here's us. And he points towards Ubersreich. Here's Augsburg. The Axbite Pass, Helmgart is over here. Somehow, a gaggle of goblins got past Helmsgard and the Axbite Pass, and they went straight to Augsburg, and they sacked it. Now, there's only two crossings. One at Bogenhaven, and one at Morlenfurt. There's a garrison at Eilhart and at Castle Graunenberg. All of our best men, are in Altdorf for the Emperor's coronation parade. And he kind of turns a sidelong glance at Captain Bulcher. And Captain Bulcher kind of straightens himself. Yes, so our scouts reported that they went straight into Augsburg, sacked the town, the local guardsmen there. They didn't stand a chance, unfortunately. We have a very small presence, a small garrison of Morlenfurt, but we haven't heard from them in a day and a half. We sent ravens and they have not returned. Bogenhafen has a strong garrison and strong walls. They should be able to hold them, and Castle Graunenberg, they'll be fine there. Aelhart, they may turn north, but I kind of doubt it because because there is another garrison at Schindelheim and Holtzland, and they'll be able to get to Aelhart before the goblins will, so they should be all right there. It's relatively undefended, but I believe if it was me, I would attempt to cross at Morlandford, because that puts a lot of distance between all of the garrisons at Graunberg, Eilhart, Schildheim, and Altdorf. There's a lot of distance between them and the orcs, and then they can come through to us, and they would have at least 2 days before any help arrives from Bogenhafen, Bogenhafen, Altdorf, or any of the other lands, and then they could simply go back out through the Grey Lady Pass, or they could go through Carrick Asgaraz, or go through Wizenland and Stirland and just ravage and pillage as goblins and orcs are wont to do. And then the magistrate takes over, and he seems somewhat satisfied with the captain's explanation. Says, "We need somebody. Well, we cannot spare the men for our defense. We're already understaffed as is. We need somebody to go to Morlandfurt and see if the crossing holds, and if not, we need to make sure that no more goblins are able to get through it." And he looks at Gunther, and Gunther says, "The alchemists at the college, and Reiniger, which you well know, have outfitted a demolition team that if Morlandfurt is lost, you can blow the bridge and ensure that at least their crossing will be harder, if not impossible. But however, that is our fastest way to Helmsgart and the Axbite Pass if we need to. We can take the road to Bogenhaven for sure, but it is nice to have that crossing open. We may bottleneck ourselves for future engagements if that crossing is lost. It will take years to rebuild. We would like very much to have it intact and to simply stop the goblins there. Besides, it is a defensible position. The garrison there, it's hard to say. He kind of flashes his eyes at Captain Bolcher. Bolcher says, they're not our best men. If I was a young lad posted in the middle of nowhere where I was assured there'd be no action, and I saw a horde of goblins coming up, I would probably run too. I can't hold it against them." Then at that, the magistrate kind of gives like a like kind of, he's not happy about that comment. That's a little bit too kind towards the commoners. Can I get you guys to roll some insight checks?
That roll was from Riley's character sheet. I don't know why
It's still not working.
Riley's aren't working.
Even if you change it
these-
from your as blank.
Yeah, that's what I've been changing. So I'll try rolling Riley as Bergley, because I think that is working. So Harbeck will be Harbeck, Bergley will be Riley, but
Sounds good.
the
Okay.
scores are the same anyway.
Yeah, that's, you guys don't notice anything other than what I've told you. And then, so Gunther looks at you, and he says, I know I've already asked a lot of you lads, but the city could use you. It's 2 days ride to Morlandford. We can give you the demolition team that we mentioned and 10 men. That's all that we can spare at the moment. Even then, that's pushing it. They're not our best men. Like I said, our best men are in Altdorf. And hard to say if the Emperor will interrupt his parade, bring his Reichsguard to our defense. Besides, he's got a lot rougher terrain to get through. Through the Hagenkribis and the Westbrook. It'll take him at least 2 days to get to Morlandford, and another 2 at least to get to Ubersreich. If nothing else, we need to slow these goblins down. And if we're able to, if the Emperor is able to muster his forces, perhaps we could if you secured the crossing, we may be able to send out our garrison and meet the Emperor there, but we would have to know immediately.
I think we need to go on the offensive and meet the goblins at Morlandford and try to push them back from the bridge, if we can even get past that bottleneck. If they force us back across.
And Heinrich says, and what if they've already secured the crossing? Their scouts will pick up a mass garrison. If they're already across, those men are as good as dead. We cannot leave the walls unless the crossing is secure, and we know it is. They will tear us to pieces in the Rickwald, in the Reichwald along the road. That is what they do best.
Do we not have scouts that can tell us this?
How do you think we learned all this already?
Well, in that case, you should be able to tell if they've crossed the bridge or not.
We never heard back from them.
And where were your scouts last posted?
Not very quick, are you, lad? Morlandford. That's where.
I know that, but I mean, they were.
They're dead. They're dead. We sent, and then Bolter like puts his hand up, and he's like, I remember you lads when you were walking in the city. The scout that I sent, the ranger that was with me, him and the 5 men he went with all never returned. What we're going on here is our assumptions and our best guesses. Like I said, the reason we think that they're going to come down this way is because they have a way out through the Grey Lady Pass if things go wrong, or through Karak Asgaras. Through the north, they don't have a way out. And we've sent word to the Bretonians across the way in Artois. We have yet to receive word, but their horses are fast, the fastest in the realm. If anyone can catch them, it'll be them. But we still don't know what happened to how the goblins got past the garrison at Helmgard. But if we can secure Morlandford, then that means they need to either go through Bogenhaven, or turn north, or turn around. Those are their options. If we limit their options and their maneuverability, goblins are deadly, dangerous in dense terrain. In the open field where they still are, a good cavalry charge will scatter them. They're cowards. But if they make it into the forests, We'll never get rid of them. We could hunt them for 10 seasons and we would never be rid of them. So we can't let that happen. Because if they do get through Bogenhafen and then they're into the Interlands, then we're in for then our cavalry are useless. Our cavalry are useless in the trees, and that's the one advantage we have on them. Their archers are better. Their assassins are better. Their leadership isn't great. Their organization structure isn't great. But they are not to be underestimated.
But so it seems that our options are. I mean, the only real option is to then just go to Morlandfurt and hope for the best.
What if we
And
move
then-
north directly toward Bogenhafen and get between them and the dense Reichwald forest and then move into Morlandfurt from the east?
That'll take you an extra day, and they might slip past you.
I mean, the alternative is to begin our march through to Morlandfurt and send Quirion in advance. She can probably move faster and over greater distances.
Check that. Your familiar might need to be within 100 feet of you. 100. I can't remember. Double check that. I can't remember. Maybe that's just for your communication. You might be able to send her ahead. That's a dicey one. I'm not sure. I would probably allow it, but like I said.
Well, I mean, even if it's just
So what's her speed? What's her flying speed?
50 feet.
50 feet. So she would actually be slower than horses. Horses move 60 feet.
Oh, well, never mind then.
Yeah. So your horse, she'd be able to keep up if she dashed to your horses. If you dash with your horses, you'd wear them out in a day, and they'd be no good to you afterwards. But you can keep up a good 60 foot per 10-second trot, and get there in 2 days, maybe a day and a half, with some good nature checks.
Either way, we have no time to spare. We'd have to leave at once.
Off. Have you guys got your long rest yet? Are you full up?
Yeah.
Yeah, we took one in the dungeon.
You took one in the dungeon. That's right. Yep, that's right. Okay. He kind of nods, and Gunther kind of strokes his chin, and he looks at he looks over at Fletcher, and then he looks at Ryan at Heinrich, and he said, "There is still the matter of the blood hunter, or of the witch hunter." And Heinrich kind of scoffs, turns his head. He hasn't returned yet. Whatever's going on at Rotfurt might be a problem as well. It seems it seems hardly a coincidence. Don't you think? Does this seem like a coincidence? On the eve of the Emperor's coronation, when we are at our, I wouldn't say weakest, but when we're distracted, Heinrich Kemmler shows up. He attempts to raise Krell. At the same time, a witch hunter goes missing. And then goblins attack. It's like the forces of chaos are surrounding us entirely. There's more afoot here.
Are you suggesting Kemmler could have been using the Soulfire curse to weaken Ubersreich's defenses for the goblin attack?
And he has a
He's
satchel.
responsible for all of it.
He has a satchel, and he pulls out, and I'm assuming that's Harbeck that said that. He pulls out, and he reads. So it says here, the last time that curse was suspected to be used, the targets of it, once it was completed, turned to husks and zombies. So yeah, that would cause some problems if they're inside the city. Our clerics and maids would be defenseless, and by the time they storm through the temple, it would be too late.
How many days would it take us to reach Rotford?
It's about the same, about 2 days.
I mean, it seems to me like the goblins are the more immediate threat.
Yes.
Give me give me a history or a straight wisdom check. One or the other. Oh, that's a save. I said or. I'll take the first one. I'll take the wisdom.
Well, I don't know what's the difference between a save and a non-save.
So a save is against like a spell.
Right, but how
ability
do I click off?
Ability is on your on your character sheet. Just opening it up here. So to do a straight wisdom roll, you would just click on your main wisdom stat.
Oh, not on the little one over here.
Yeah, on the big one. Yeah, the big.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll take your first roll, and we'll take your first roll, and we'll just subtract 2 from it, so that gives you a 16. And then Captain Belcher speaks up. Said, if this is a coordinated attack and forces of chaos align against us, which hand is more important to the magician? The one you can see, or the one that you can't? The goblins are a threat, but they're an obvious one, almost too obvious if we're thinking about it in this way. And you can give me an insight check. Harbeck in particular, actually. Harbeck alone. Give me an insight check. And Bulcher he looks around, he says, what if we throw our full might towards the goblins when there's a bigger, not necessarily a bigger, but when there's a threat to our north, that could be the end of the city if we emptied our garrison.
Well, so then the question becomes, what's more important to protect? Ubersreich or Morlenford?
Well, Morlenford is but a speed bump. Ubersreich is a rock wall that they will have to smash through. So we can't empty our garrison and send it towards Morlenford unless we have guarantees one way or the other. If we know that our rear is secure, then we may be able to meet them in the field outside of the city gates. Prevent the hardship to the people, and possibly unite with the Emperor's forces, or maybe the Bretonnians will come to our aid as well if the Morlandfurt crossing is still active. I don't think they would make it all the way to Bogenhafen and then come down. I think they would, if the goblins went to Morlandfurt and then blew the bridge afterwards, or if the bridge was blown, I think the Bretonnians would turn around. They're zealous, and they they hate the spawn of chaos as much as any of us, but they do have limits. They're not going to ride through one of our cities in retribution. They have their own homes to protect too. But for now, we have probably a day or two while the goblins loot and raid around Augsburg. Maybe enough time to secure Morlandfurt, and he points towards Gunther, or try to find this blood hunter. His men are not easily killed, and they only disappear when they want to. And he left word that he should be back. He should be back in I forget the word, in half a week. Their weeks are 10 days. And that was 2 days ago.
That he was supposed to
be
back.
Well, I think fighting the goblins in the open fields between here and Morlandfurt may be more of a job for the military of the city. We could investigate what threats are coming from Rotford.
If we're unsure about being able to prevent the goblins from making it to Morlandfurt, if we don't even know if they're already there or not, and we need to secure, the other side of the town, or of Ubersreich, in order to be able to mount a full-on defense against the goblins, then I think it makes more sense to spend our time going after the witch hunter, and at least provide the peace of mind in order to maybe create a stronger frontal assault while they continue to prepare here, where if at the end of, in the last moments, they still have some sort of retaliation planned.
Gunther nods, and he reaches into his pack and he pulls out a scroll and he hands it to you, Thury. The wisdom of the elves was not overstated. Here, this is a scroll of sending. You'll be able to send me a message, one way or the other. It'll be faster than Raven travel, and I would say the situation warrants it. However, there is a third option, and he kind of looks at Captain Bulcher. It may be possible to do both. In a way. If you can slow down the river crossing, that would buy us time for our militaries to get in place. After that, it's still not that much farther from Morlandfurt to Rotford. Let's say Rotford is more. It's less here. It's more like here. It's like straight north of Ubersreich. So it would be about a day, roughly, from Morlandfurt to Rotford. Roughly. Day day and a half, depending on your survival checks, because you're going through the forest. So let's imagine it's in right there. I'll actually draw an X. So we may not. The ultimate goal would be to destroy the goblins, but if we can at least slow them down, so they either have to try to go through or around Bogenhafen, or find another crossing somewheres. Maybe goblins are known to be crafty. They may have a way of getting across, but that will cost them time. That might be enough time. If you can do that, that might be enough time for us to marshal our defenses. However, then whatever happened to the Blood Hunter, it's very hard to say if he may be dead already. You may be chasing a corpse. But
Well, so it goes
So
back to my
we have
other question.
three
of-
options, yeah. Or perhaps another option yet again. I guess 4 options. Perhaps again, you could do the opposite. Perhaps you could find the Blood Hunter. At least then we would know what we're up against in Rotford. Maybe not eliminate it, but at least know what we're up against, so we can position ourselves accordingly. And then we would still have the goblins to deal with, but perhaps there'd be a way for you to slow them down after Morlandford, after they cross. A small group may be able to get in, and they're notorious for their fragile command structures. If you chop off the head of the snake, the body dies. They devolve into power struggles and infighting.
Implode. I mean, it feels to me like trying to take out the bridge, if that's the only real method for them to cross, is a worthwhile pursuit if we feel like we can get there before them. If we don't know whether or not they've already crossed it, well, then that could be an exercise in futility.
Captain Bulger speaks up. He says, from what I'm hearing, I doubt that the entire force is across the bridge already. However, they usually send scouts ahead to secure their crossings before they send their full forces, as we do. We do the exact same thing. We secure our crossings before we maneuver our men into position, the vanguard, if you will. That may be a day or two ahead of the regular force, which, as far as we're aware, is still looting Augsburg and will be for at least a day. They relish in the slaughter. They tend to take their sweet time.
Our appearance in Morlandford might then trigger them to attack and attempt a crossing immediately. We would have our demolition team prepared to take out the bridge if we couldn't cross successfully and secure the bridge for ourselves.
Yes, option A and option B at least.
If the bridge ends up blown, the fight with the goblins will end up happening in Bogenhafen.
Which seems like a smarter place to have it anyway.
Potentially.
Yes.
Smarter for
Either
us.
that or... Yeah.
Like I said, though, these goblins are crafty. They may find another way across. It's hard to say, but it will definitely slow them down. It will definitely slow them down, and it will give the Emperor time to hopefully, we haven't received word yet, but hopefully get our Reichsguard and the regular army to bear down on them, or, like I said, the Bretonnians, potentially. But the Bretonnians are unpredictable. They may come as far as Bogenhafen. we have a defensive pact with them, so we can enter each other's territories if we're pursuing an enemy or for mutual defense. We, like I said, we have sent ravens to Artois, but we haven't received word as of yet, and we don't currently have a sending circle set up with them. That's one thing that's in the works. Even our sending circle to Altdorf is sketchy at best. A sending circle is just for instantaneous communication. But
I mean, even if it's just a small scouting party, I feel like the three of us could probably take them, and I don't know
you also
the
have
extent.
you also have the 10 soldiers. So you're gonna have 4 footmen, 4 archers, and the 2 demolition guys. So you got 10 soldiers as well as you. A very small force, but enough to make a bit of a difference.
Because if we could take out the bridge, slow them down, leave that crew there while we make our way to Rotford, and the guard moves up through the valley, I guess. That could be, we're slowing the goblins / pushing them away to other places, or at least attempting to, and then moving over to try and deal with something that's not just a full-on war.
And that for the first time in a while, Heinrich kind of nods, and he seems to be liking this plan a little bit better. He's kind of nodding his head, and he's kind of like, yeah, okay, this seems might be the best of both worlds, best that we can do for now. And who knows, perhaps this witch hunter will ring tomorrow, and you'll be able to stay at Morlandford. Potentially, it may just be delayed. We don't know.
That's the other thing too.
That's the thing. So, what do you think, Brad?
Remind me again, how did you become aware of the goblins passing through Axbite Pass and the defeated Osberg?
When they defeated Osberg, we received
Was a messenger sent?
Yes, yeah, we received distress calls, and there was there was a flurry of activity through the sending circle, and multiple ravens were dispatched to Morlandford, to Bogenhafen, to Eilhart, and all along the way.
Well, I'm sold then. Let's attempt to secure Morlandford if still possible. Either take the bridge for ourselves or destroy it.
I don't know. I think we have to go into it thinking that we're going to be destroying it. Because I don't know.
Definitely prepared to destroy it.
Yeah, because 12, 13 people can't fight off a horde of goblins and protect a bridge over multiple days without reinforcements. So, I think if that's the plan, we have to be ready to say that bridge is no longer going to exist.
Well, so Gunther says, so he pulls out a piece of paper. This is the name of the scribe at Bogenhafen, and he hands it to you. If you secure Morlandford, if you secure it and the bridge is intact, you can use that sending scroll and send this man a message. He will know that the scroll is of my making, and if you request assistance, they may come and they may move some of their garrison to secure the crossing as well. And then by that time, perhaps the Emperor will be at Castle Groundberg by then, and then everyone can just slide from Groundberg to Bogenhafen to Moorlandfurt, if things work well.
Yeah, that seems to make sense to me. Worst case scenario, we'll use the bridge as a kill box, and we wait until we have as many goblins as we can on it, and then blow it and them to Kingdom Come. And that might just be enough to delay them for us to make our getaway, or for them to turn around if they watch, 50 out of their kind get blown into a million pieces.
Goblin corpses float down River Boggin would be a moral reward indeed, at least.
Bolcher chuckles a bit. Quite the sense of humor you dwarves have. I'm assuming that was.
No, it's Harbeck.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it involves corpses,
Yeah.
Harbeck.
Well, the animosity between your races is well known. All right. Well, he looks around. He looks at Gunther. Looks at the magistrate. The magistrate does one of those, claps his hands.
Meeting adjourned.
Well, I suppose that'll be all for now, lads. You can leave. You can leave immediately. The horses are shod and ready to go, whichever direction you so choose.
We gotta get the rest of our crew together.
Yeah. No. The men will be waiting at the barracks with the horses.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay. Anything as you guys are leaving? Anything you'd like to discuss?
Can we get a copy of that map? Do we have a copy of the map?
Oof. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. Just hold on.
Probably not necessary for right now, but just.
I'll see if I can. I think it's in my objects. I can probably add it to. Yeah. Anything else you want to say in character between yous?
Nothing from me.
I think we're good.
And okay. There. Check your. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Got it. There. I'm getting good at this program now. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop recording. Say that's